Okay, sir. So I want to talk about the origins of the UKKA, if that's okay with you.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me who'd you meet first? Um,
I
Tony
met,
Sartor or Pierre Berger?
I met Tony first.
Okay. How would that go?
That's from a nightclub. We're at a nightclub, and as usual, you're trying to get students, so you're showing techniques and stuff, in the pool room, naturally. And then people are getting, wow, that looks pretty good, type of thing. And I noticed Tony really had good form. So that particular night we got together, and then I said, you got to come down to Mr. Parker's. So sometime that following week, I had Ed Parker himself work with Tony, and Tony loved it. He just said, you think I can get good at this? It's strictly up to you. Anything you do is strictly up to you. You got to work hard at it. And if you don't like it, move on.
Right.
So I took him down, Mr. Parker and everything else. And Tony was funny. I mean, Tony's a funny guy, tough guy, strong. And then we started running around together. And I says, come on, you're going to meet Mr. Parker now. And was he impressed with Mr. Parker with his movements and his stuff and his presentation, And Mr. Parker says, I don't know, teaching a Frenchman, it's, us Hawaiians we're too fast people, stuff like that, Get us to laugh, me and some of my black belts. And through that night, then we went out, and he enjoyed the company. He enjoyed Mr. Parker. Everybody liked Mr. Parker.
Did he have a martial arts background before he met you?
Yeah, Tony did. It was a French style.
Was it Savate?
Yeah, I think it was Savate type of stuff. But he was strong, and everybody liked. The girls loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured here, maybe I could make him a teacher, and that would help with the students, because I want to get somebody to teach kids more and take the ladies and try to build a deal, because I want to open up a studio. So sometime during the next 2-3 weeks, I talked to Tony Sartor. He says, yeah, I'd like to get involved. That sounds really good. He says, how much will you need? I said, 100 grand. He said, 100 grand? I said, if you're dumb enough to give me 100 grand, give it to me. And we kind of laughed and stuff. And so together we raised, within the next month, we raised, I think, going way back then, about $17,000. Talked to different.
What do you remember? What year that was? Like 65?
Yeah, it's a long time ago. It's I think you can gauge it more as to who became involved in our particular studios as we went along. So Mr. Parker was teaching actresses and stuff like that, which made us really, we'd like to get involved with Mr. Parker. And so we started coming down to the studio, and I worked with him, with what I learned when I was a kid in Hawaii, and through Mr. Parker, and he was impressed.
So how did Pierre end up?
Well,
there.
Pierre was next. So we went to a nightclub. It was called, not Smoky Sobers. It was, anyway, it was down the street. It was basically a bike bar.
Was it the Chatterbox?
No. It was Hessians and Angels and clubs like that. And Pierre was at the door. I walked in. Here's this little guy.
Bouncer?
Yeah, he was modest, but he believed that he had friends there. And I'm watching him going, why do they have such a tiny little guy working at this biker bar,
Yeah.
basically?
Tough bar.
It's tough work. And then in walks the guy, he's got his colors on, and he's got like 6 other people. So there's about 7, 8 bikes, I think. And the leader starts to come in, and it looked like trouble. I says, I guess we're going to find out, what Pierre can do. So as the guy came to the door, he says, there's cover charge. And the guy decided to push Pierre, and Pierre just blocked him with his hand, pushed him back. He says, you can come in the bar, but your colors can't come in the bar. And the guy looked at little Pierre and says, what are you going to do about it, And I spoke up. I says, well, I'm one of the guys that's going to be on his side. And I got a couple other guys here. And then they had two other guys that worked the bar too. And one of the guys says, your name is Fred? I said, yeah. So he whispered something into the leaders, and they says, well, we're not going to take our colors. Pierre said, then you're not coming in. Yeah, we just want to have a few drinks.
Right.
Take your colors off.
Right.
Finally, we said, what's hard about taking your colors off? This way nobody gets hurt, nobody gets in a fight. And he had a guy named Grumpy, and he was the warlord of the club. Mm-hmm. And I had tussles with him later on in the months to follow, but he says, I'm going to come in. And Pierre says, no, you're not. And the guy reached to touch Pierre, and Pierre, he knows all these finger techniques and stuff. Right. And the guy, whoop, down on the ground. And he, you son of a bitch, type of deal. Yeah, I'm going to get you. And Pierre going, yeah, well, hey, you look kind of neat down there, or something like that. Mm. And then one of the other bikers started to move on, and that's when I made my move. And that's when we and a couple other people made my move. I think Brandenberry was there then too, I'm not sure, in this particular time. And that ended real cool. They took their colors off. But sometime through the next few months, I was working with Mr. Parker, and Tony and them got involved, and we were all working out at this one. It used to be a bar, but a guy named Larry Horowitz owned it. He says, well, let's work out there. So as history goes, like anything else, it starts somewhere. And the next thing we know, we had a studio down in Mountain Ball, and it filled up fast. We had like about 8-10 students, and about a month later, we had over 100.
Wow.